Hey, this is Warren Redlick. There's something special about Tesla that nobody really talks about very much, and I want to cover it here, and I have the right background for it.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Nobody talks in depth about Tesla's lawyers. I'm just going to go a little bit here, and this might lead to another video in the future, but there's some special things going on with Tesla and lawyers. Are you ready? Let's go.
Well, perhaps the laws of physics cease to exist on your stove.
Let's start with this article here from Bloomberg Law. This is last month. Tesla law department exits leave Musk with thinned legal bench.
You, however, had time to hide the gun, didn't you, Chutney? After you shot your father.
I didn't mean to shoot him. I thought it was you walking through the door.
Tesla's Inc.'s parting with another law department leader leaves Elon Musk, its co-founder and top executive, with a thinned legal bench as he faces legal challenges. Now, one of the interesting things here is when lawyers write about Tesla having issues with lawyers, apparently it's a problem that Tesla has turnover with lawyers, and lawyers think that lawyers are the most important thing in a company. Elon and some other people think that the engineers are actually more important than the lawyers for the company. But go through it, at least a dozen company lawyers have left their posts this year. Is that a lot? I'm going to show you in a minute that Tesla has a lot of lawyers working for them. If a dozen lawyers leave and they have 150 lawyers on staff, that's less than 10%. That's an average tenure of 10 years. Is that really a big deal? I'm going to say no. They include some attorneys who worked in business units outside of legal, including human resources and tax, the people said. Oh, it might even be more than 150. So you're not really having a lot of, having 10% of people leave an area is not a huge turnover because that means they stay on average 10 years. It's not that bad. The company has no lawyer or legal chief listed among its three top executives and has been without a permanent general counsel since December 2019. This strikes me as a big deal. As a lawyer, it's generally my understanding that most large corporations have what's called a general counsel. Even small companies have a general counsel. The general counsel for a small company might be an outside person, and they sort of oversee all the legal operations of the company. So they'll oversee regulatory compliance, they'll oversee litigation, they'll oversee human resources. There's all kinds of issues, and you would usually have one lawyer at the top who supervises all of that. Now, I'm not sure that that's a good strategy to have one lawyer at the top who supervises everything. Does that lawyer really understand all the areas of law that they're supervising? I'm not so sure. I think Tesla's approach might be that, and we're going to go into this in more depth, that top people within areas of Tesla report directly to Elon rather than reporting to some lawyer who reports to Elon. Elon seems to like having a lot of people report directly to him, so maybe that works better. The GC needs to be a direct report to the CEO and a core member of the top C-suite executive team for any company that is serious about fusing performance, integrity, and risk management, said Benjamin Heinemann, a corporate governance expert and former general counsel at General Electric. See, lawyers think you need lawyers, but engineers think you need engineers. You know, if you ask this guy, how important is it to have engineers in charge of Tesla? He would probably say, not that big of a deal. As a shareholder, I'm happy to see Tesla driven by engineering rather than by lawyers. I think when you get to a certain state of a company that's no longer growing and no longer innovating in an extreme way, then and you're trying to maintain your status as a large corporation, you're trying to maintain your success, then maybe general counsel becomes a lot more important. But when you're in a highly innovative company, I'll be blunt, lawyers get in the way. Lawyers are prone to saying you can't do that because of this reason, because of that reason. And Elon's like, no, we're going to do that. Get out of the way. And so far, Tesla's doing great, and this doesn't seem to be a huge problem for Tesla's success. So where are the lawyers coming from? I love this stuff. You know, this is how they dive into it. Those who have worked with Musk over the years praise him as a quirky genius, but also someone whose background in technology has led him to value engineers more than lawyers who work in a profession he's sparred with in and out of court or across the negotiating table. I think that's strange. He values engineers more than lawyers. Shocker. David Searle, the law department leader, was heading an internal inquiry into purchase orders at the EV maker, left his post less than a month ago, said Bloomberg reported. Tesla, in a tweet from its verified account, denied Searle had left the company. Searle had been put in charge of an internal investigation into Musk Lieutenant Omid Afshar's role in a plan to purchase hard-to-get construction materials. You know, there's this obsession, like this isn't even like a story, this part of the story, that he was reported that he left and then he didn't leave. This is obviously not a non-story, but the legal world is obsessed with the lawyers at a company. It would be nice if they actually cared more about the engineering and innovation at a company. Then they mentioned Dina Eskin, and I mentioned in a previous video, Dina Eskin went to the same law school that I went to in Albany, New York. They list her as serving as a top lawyer at SUNY Polytechnic in Albany, New York. He actually worked for John Bailey's law firm. I'm friends with. I used to be reasonably good friends with John Bailey. I moved away a long time ago, but John Bailey is a great lawyer in New York State and upstate New York. And so she went to my law school. She worked with a lawyer I know is a great lawyer, so good sign. And it says she has taken over as head of legal, three sources said. She's at least the fifth top lawyer the company has had since 2019 and the seventh since late 2018. I can't find any evidence that Tesla actually has a top lawyer. I think Tesla has top lawyers in different sections. So Dina Eskin appears to be, and I'm not even sure of this, he appears to be the head of the litigation department. And we're going to go through and I'm going to show you there's at least two other lawyers who appear to be heads of certain areas. And then, typically human resources has a lot of legal issues. I'm not sure who's in charge of that. That's not on the list that I have. But let's keep going. Musk's public proclamations have alienated some former supporters and attracted the scrutiny of government officials. Also faces a lawsuit from Twitter over his scuttled $44 billion bid for the social media company. None of this has anything to do with the topic of the article, right? The headline of the article is about Tesla's lawyers. What Elon says publicly that annoys people and the lawsuit with Twitter have nothing to do with Tesla. So why is this even in the article? This is just like, well, we're writing an article. Let's throw as much garbage at Musk as we can in the article. Shareholders have raised concern in recent years about Tesla's lack of a dedicated general counsel or chief legal officer. I know a lot of Tesla shareholders. I talk with Tesla shareholders all the time. I have not heard a single shareholder ever say, gosh, I wish Tesla had more lawyers. This is just this is the world in the eyes of lawyers, is that they think we actually care whether Tesla has a chief legal officer. I'm a lawyer. I'm an experienced lawyer. I was a lawyer since 1995. So that's 27 years as an attorney. I'm retired now. Doesn't bother me at all. Who is bothered by this? I don't understand. A complaint unsealed last year in a Delaware derivative lawsuit filed against Tesla by an investor accused the company board of failing to ensure the automaker had an independent general counsel who could provide advice untainted by Musk and who could provide advice as to what was in Tesla's best interest. Yeah, Elon needs some lawyer to tell him what's in Tesla's best interest. Let's be clear. Elon owns like 20% of Tesla, 16, 20, 25% of Tesla. He doesn't need some lawyer telling him what's in Tesla's best interest. He knows what's in Tesla's best interest, and lawyers get in the way. The longest serving legal chief at Tesla was Todd Marone, a former divorce lawyer for Musk, who left in late 2018. Again, this is not useful information. Another top lawyer, former personal lawyer to Musk, spent 2 months in the job before stepping down. Jonathan Chang succeeded as general counsel until he too resigned from the company. Then they got Elon's tweet here, just sort of throwing in Elon's tweet here, completely out of context, that Elon is building a hardcore litigation department. The team will report directly to me. Notice this. This was something I noticed when he tweeted it. The team isn't reporting to a general counsel because there is no. Normally, what happens in a company is if you have litigation, the head of litigation reports to the general counsel. They don't report to the CEO. But it's just so important. What Elon is saying is this is so important that I want them to report directly to me. That Chang is no longer there. He's now at some startup. Tesla then turned to former automotive safety engineer Alan Prescott, who'd worked in law departments, to become its acting general counsel. He left Tesla for Luminar Technologies. Bill Berry, a longtime lawyer at Alphabet, Google, joined Tesla as head of litigation, replaced Prescott. There's this ongoing circus of lawyers leaving and lawyers coming, lawyers going. Some lawyers don't stay very long. And my gut hunch is in-house, working as a lawyer inside a corporation, generally in the legal world, is less demanding than working in a top law firm. In a top law firm, you're expected to work 80 plus hours a week. Work in a corporation, you're expected to work maybe 50 or 60 hours a week. And I think Elon is probably a really hard driver, and he pushes his lawyers really hard. And successful and experienced lawyers don't like being pushed around by the CEO. They expect to be respected. They expect to be considered a part of the lead team. And they find out, no, this is an engineering run company. This is not a lawyer run company. If you don't like it, it's not for you. I can't know what's going on inside Tesla, why we see all this turnover, but it's there. And most likely these lawyers get in there and they get another offer. I can't know what's actually happening. But this guy, Barry, became general counsel for a cloud security company, left Tesla. Former human resources head joined startup Handshake as his top lawyer. This is one of those things where they just sort of taking random details. This person worked at Tesla's lawyer and then they left and went work somewhere else. This person worked at Tesla, then they went and worked at somewhere else. Look, some people come in, they're there for a couple of months, they figure the job's not for them and they leave. But is the overall turnover particularly high? I don't know. Then they get into Elon's plan to build a hardcore litigation department. And an online jobs board at Tesla currently lists openings for a dozen U.S. legal and government affairs positions in Austin, Texas. It's a big company. They're going to have openings for dozens of jobs. That's not new. Got a new head of compliance, Michael Monroe, chief compliance officer, was also a longtime lawyer in the oil and gas industry, works out of Tesla's new corporate headers in Austin. So he handles compliance as his regulatory compliance. So instead of having one general counsel at the top who sort of supervises everything, you've got a head of compliance, you've got a head of litigation, all this other stuff. Derek Wyndham, deputy counsel for corporate and securities. So these are not litigators. Monroe and Wyndham are not litigators. So nobody responded to comment. And to me, I read this article and it's like, where's the story? Like, this article doesn't really make sense. This doesn't really fit. This is just like legal gossip about Tesla without any substance, without any coherence, without like a coherent story. It's just sort of like, gosh, there's a lot of lawyers coming and going at Tesla. It's one of the largest corporations in the world. They have a lot of employees. If you search LinkedIn for counsel at Tesla and you limit it to people who are currently working at the company, it comes up with 149 results. So that means there's in the ballpark of 150 lawyers working at Tesla right now. So, okay, you can tell a story about 10 lawyers who came and went. That's a drop in the bucket. And that's the lawyers who have the name counsel in their job title. What about people who have other positions in their job title? You can see Dan Fingerman is associate general counsel at Tesla. You can see JT Boone is deputy general counsel at Tesla. Nahal Hamidi Adler, real estate counsel. They have real estate lawyers at Tesla. They have senior counsel. This one's doing superchargers, which is probably like going to local governments and getting permitting approval for putting your supercharger in. I'm just guessing what that is. Dina Eskin is a litigator who's been disclosed in some of the pending litigation, and that's the one that I know. That I don't know her personally, but went to the same law school as me, worked for John Bailey, who I know. Another associate general counsel, a managing counsel, deputy general counsel, managing counsel, associate general counsel for tax. They have a tax lawyer. They have lawyers all over the place. And then you just like an endless list of lawyers, right? All these different jobs. And there's a lot of legal work. When you have a big corporation, there's a lot of legal work that needs to be done, typically related to tax, related to real estate, related to compliance with various regulatory issues, and the energy side, on the automotive side, litigation. There's all kinds of that stuff going on. So there's a lot of stuff going on. You can see this guy, Josh Gubkin, environmental consulting legal. He was senior legal counsel at Tesla at the past. For some reason, it lists him as managing legal counsel. It says provides services, environmental consulting, legal consulting. So maybe there's environmental issues that have to be worked at. Senior corporate counsel at Tesla. He was past corporate counsel real estate. So there's a lot of different legal jobs in Tesla. And for those, all these people are telling me, Warren, you should go work at Tesla in litigation department. I'm not that good as a lawyer. I wasn't that good as a lawyer. I was a pretty good trial lawyer for a while, handling fairly simple stuff like car accident cases and criminal defense on a low end. Did not handle large complex litigation. That's the kind of stuff that Tesla needs. I never worked in regulatory compliance. I'm not a real estate lawyer. I'm not a tax lawyer. There isn't really a fit for me at Tesla, and they deserve lawyers who are willing to work many more hours than I'm probably willing to work, and I'm committed to the mission. I don't know that I would put the time in, and I generally think my skills are shot. So I'm not the guy for this job. And just want to point out, this is an ongoing thing. This is an article from March 2021, so a year and a half ago. Tesla's board failed to appoint general counsel who could keep Elon Musk in line, unsealed the suit alleges. So this, these stories just keep going on. It's the same thing. This is just like legal gossip columns. This one's in the ABA Journal, the American Bar Association Journal. Just endless legal gossip column stuff. It doesn't go away. These stories just keep coming, and it doesn't really add value. They point out like Jonathan Chang first began working at Tesla in 2006 and resigned in December 2019. He was with the company 13 years. What's the big deal? That's a pretty good run. In today's world, you worked at a company for 13 years. That's a good run. So the last thing I wanted to go through is a recent article by Laura Kolodny, who is normally a Tesla hater, and she did this article sort of talking about direct reports to Elon. And these are all these people. One of the striking things about Elon is he is deeply involved in arguably micromanaging a lot of aspects of the company. But there's 20 plus people on this list of people who are in direct contact with Elon. You can see on this level, Associate General Counsel Adam Mehis, who's in New York, New York, not in Austin. There's a bunch of vice presidents of different, aspects of the company's work. And then you've got Adam Mez, and then if you go down, you've got David Cyril, who was mentioned in that article. He's still listed according to Laura Kolodny, so I guess he does still work there, despite the lawyer gossip journals saying he doesn't. And notably not on the list is Dinah Eskin, who has been reported in the media to be the new chief of litigation or something like that in some filings. Does Dinah Eskin report directly to Elon? I don't know. Maybe she reports to this Adam guy. I don't know. I think this is an incomplete listing, but the striking thing in all of this is that fundamentally what we see is Tesla is run different than other companies. Rather than having lawyers at the top telling the CEO what he can and can't do, the CEO and the engineers, they do what they think is best, and they get the lawyers to figure it out. They tell the lawyers, this is what we're doing, make it work. And it's an engineering driven company, not a lawyer driven company. This is one of the great things about Tesla. This is why, in my opinion, Tesla is growing dramatically, because once you get the lawyers and the lawyers find ways to slow you down, it's not conscious, it's not intentional, but lawyers are naturally conservative. It's the training of the profession. It's how we're trained in law school. And their naturally tendency is to say, you can't do that. Let me look and make sure you can do that, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of restraint. And Elon doesn't want those restraints keeping Tesla from growing the way Tesla should grow. And so far, I would say seems to be working really well for Tesla, that they've pushed the lawyers aside and they let the engineers run the company. So what do you think? Should Tesla have more lawyers? You want lawyers running Tesla? What do you think? Let me know. I think Tesla should be insanely gigantic and pursue insane, extreme urgency and not let lawyers get in the way. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Please check out my other videos. Support this channel on the Locals platform, on Patreon, and a YouTube channel member. Links to all that in the description below. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.